Alright. Hopefully the audio's working. Yeah, it's working. Streams up, chat's up, notes up. All set to run. We were set for 13, but a couple of people are missing at the moment. Hopefully they can join through qualifying. Man, this week has been incredibly poor in terms of attendance. A lot of people checking out. It's a shame, but it's fairly unsurprising, to be honest. But the show must go on, I suppose. Hello everyone and welcome to round 12 of the America's Tier 1 Championship here on Race Spec Esports. I'm Everingham, your commentator for this event. And tonight we'll be competing at Las Vegas Strip Circuit for the Las Vegas Grand Prix. Sin City makes its grand return to the Formula 1 calendar after a massive 40-year absence. The track, designed by track-making supremo Herman Tilke, will take drivers around some of the most famous buildings and landmarks in the world. The circuit itself utilizes several major streets within the city, none more famous than the strip itself, Las Vegas Boulevard. It has a length of 3.8 miles and consists of 17 corners and 2 DRS zones that head down the streets of Cover Lane into Turn 5 and down Las Vegas Boulevard into Turn 14. It's not an overly technical racetrack, nor is it really a driver's circuit, but the concrete walls still linger near the edges of the racetrack, so a single mistake in qualifying or either of the races could prove to be disastrous. That's right, we're expecting plenty of action. Well, I'm hoping there's plenty of action out on track, as this will be the third sprint round of the championship. 2 races for the price of 1, with a ton of points to play for here in Las Vegas. Before we focus on this here qualifying session, there is a little bit of news to go through first from the previous race in Brazil. There were no incident reports submitted in by the drivers last week. As a result, the final finishing positions of that race remain completely unchanged. In the Drivers' Championship, it is Axis who is leading the way on 258 points, a 9-point margin over Blockman in P2, who was on 249. Rebel is in third on 181 points, followed by Saucy on 177. Then KD rounds out the top 5 on 147 points. In the Teams Championship, it's an interesting development heading into this round, as the championship could be solved today. Alpine lead the way on 430 points, in front of AlphaTauri on 270. So there's 160 points separating the top 2 in the Teams Championship. Now, after this round, there are 3 rounds remaining, and the maximum amount of points you can score within those 3 rounds is 182, which would mean if the Alpine crew outscore AlphaTauri by 23 points or more tonight, they will secure the Teams Championship for Season 12. Of course, with a margin like that, the likelihood is they will secure it regardless if they do it here or not. But I'm sure they would like to here in Las Vegas. But the rest of the Teams Championship looks like Red Bull Racing on 239, Williams on 210, Ferrari on 152. Haas not terribly far behind on 140. McLaren just behind them on 137, followed by Mercedes AMG on 122. Then Alfa Romeo on 66. And Aston Martin, they've never had a full-time driver over the course of this season, so they're still on 0. Drag King is the first driver to attempt a flying lap in this here qualifying session, making his way around turns 3 and 4. He'll head down Cover Lane, the first DRS zone on the circuit, and head towards turn 5. One of the better overtaking spots on the circuit, but a very notorious corner during races. There tend to be quite a few accidents heading into that corner. It's a very tight complex, very easy to get it all wrong. Saucy's about to begin a flying lap. My ride on board with him to give you a tour of this 3.8 mile racetrack. Round turns 1 and 2 is designated as 2 corners, similar with this. Turns 3 and 4, even though there's no different distinction between those 2 corners, it just looks like one continuous corner. On the official track map, it's recognised as 2 turns for some reason. Round turn 5, we now head towards the left-hander of turn 6. More importantly, the tricky braking zone heading into turn 7. Without racing line, it's a very tricky place to go through, turn 7 and 8, as we head into the left-hand hairpin of turn 9. Third gear, eventually reaching full throttle. We're heading down Sands Avenue around turn 10, up towards the flat-out left-hander of turn 11, getting ready to brake hard for turn 12, the corner that leads onto Las Vegas Boulevard. The flat-out blast here heading towards the slight kink of turn 13 as drag king set to 33.9. Of course, we will open DRS and fly down the strip, building up to a speed up and over 220 miles an hour. 223 to be exact as we head into turn 14, turn 15 and 16. It's quite a tricky little chicane complex. Now it's another flat-out blast from here to the finish line. We'll go around the final corner, turn 17, a flat-out left-hander. Cross the line, and Saucy was set a 32.8. Jay out on track, heading up towards the finish line. Round the final corner, he crosses the beam, and he goes just over 1/10 of a second slower than Saucy. Blockman on a flying lap, running low on fuel as well, so this will be his only flying lap at this stage of qualifying. Crosses the line and he flogs Saucy by nearly 0.8 of a second. That's a huge margin between the top 2. Black Baller on a flying lap, heading down Coval Lane into turn 5. Almost into the wall at the exit of turn 5. Like I said, it's a tricky corner. Very easy to get it all wrong as the track narrows heading up that short straightaway before turn 6. Nanda heading into that same complex, sporting a what's the character's name from Breaking Point? Not Devon, not Casper. Oh goodness, I can't remember his name now. It's been a while since I played it. Anyway, Nanda's making his way out of turn 9, heading up towards turn 10. That completes the first sector. It's incredibly lengthy, the first sector of the racetrack. Plenty of technical corners you have to try and navigate. Plenty of distance covered as well. Out of turn 12, an important corner, arguably the most important on the racetrack, as it will determine how fast you travel down Las Vegas Boulevard. Or rather, it will dictate how quickly you reach top speed. Everyone will be reaching top speeds here. The straight is incredibly long. The DRS zone is one of the longest on the calendar. We're going to be seeing a lot of slipstream battles over the course of the sprint race and the main race itself. Think of it like a NASCAR event on an oval. We're going to see a lot of slipstream battles, a lot of simple passing. And then when we get towards the end of the race, all hell's going to break loose. Luxury out on track, same with Little Mick as he heads into turn 14. Equally like a NASCAR race. The other type of event we can see is just complete drama all the way through. The nasty racetrack here at Las Vegas. Not a lot of traction on offer. The cars are really slippery. Rebels going back into pit lane. Drag King's coming out onto the racetrack. Luxury here will be the next driver to attempt a flying lap here. Just quickly make his way through the final chicane. Turn on the battery very shortly. Begin his flying lap attempt. There we go, he's turned it on now. Shifts it up into top gear. Around the final corner and down the main straightaway. Towards turn 1, braking hard, down to 3rd gear. Back on the power, a tad bit wide perhaps there. Through turn 2. A lot of understeer at turn 4. That car refused to turn in. Seen a lot of cars go through the opening complex. I've never seen a car do that, where it's just understeering the entire time. I'll be curious to see what kind of top speed Luxury has down the long boulevard straight, because perhaps he might be running with absolutely no wings on this car. By the way it's acting, by the way it's driving, it's got no front end whatsoever. I mean, here at turn 12, it won't be too bad because you don't need a hell of a lot of aero here. Alright, what kind of top speed will we see here from Luxury? 7th gear. Up into 8. The RS open. There's his teammate in front giving him a neat little tow. His teamwork there. 221, that's not as quick as I've seen from other cars, so yeah, that's quite bewildering. I don't know why that Red Bull was so bad through turns 3 and 4. Car just understeered wide into the wall. Luxury will cross the line all the same. He jumps to 3rd in front of his teammate, no less. How poor was Saucy's opening lap? It didn't look too bad when we rode on board with him. Turns 1 and 2. Similar line to the Luxury took. See, that's a bit better. He was able to get the front end to hook up just that little bit more in the middle of 3 and 4. Allowed himself to be nice and confident at the exit of the long right-hand sweeper. Into the left-hand sweeper at turn 6. On the brakes. Down to 3rd. Clip the first apex, clip the second and maybe miss the second by a little bit. Around the 3rd apex of turn 9. Up through the gears, past the monorail on the outside of the corner. The elevated monorail, to be exact. Through the junction onto Las Vegas Boulevard. Now I'm going to guess that Luxury is going to give his teammate a little tow here. On the boulevard, you better get a move on. There we are. Teammates working together, isn't that just a lovely sight? It's 224 miles an hour there, so Saucy's got lower wings. The car looks better than I've seen from Luxury, but see if Saucy's lap time improves by a decent margin here. He'll cross the line. He won't improve. Oh, that's peculiar, that is. Interesting. Rebel on a flying lap, making his way around turn 6's axis, jumps to the top. A 32.003 as Rebel throws the lap away. The back end of that Alpine didn't look particularly great out of turn 5, and it sort of reaffirmed the fact that that car's loose as he made his way through the chicane at the MSG Sphere, one of the more noteworthy buildings around the racetrack, one of the newest as well, as I was informed. As Captain Schmeg jumps up to P3, 32.375. I actually made mention in the Discord about he was trying to work out why esports drivers were able to cut turn 12 so much. I didn't ask him, but I was wondering how old those videos were, because with the most recent update that came with this game, they developed a fix for Las Vegas. Gee whiz, Nanda, keep it straight. They developed a fix for Las Vegas that prevented drivers from cutting turn 12 substantially. See, before the update, you were able to cut quite a lot of that corners. Nanda is getting really comfortable with the barriers, rubbing up against them. See here, we're not right on board. Ooh, That's a poor run through 10 and 11. You were able to put your right side tyres on that inside curve. Basically reinvent the corner. But now they've put something there that really unsettles the car. If you cut it by that much, it vaults the car up into the air. Oh, a little bit of waving there from Nanda. Jays goes back into pit lane. Luxury out on track. Captain Schmaggy's going back into the pits too. As Nanda retires from the session. He crashed. He has. There he is there. Gone and head butted the barrier at turn 14. Don't know what that was about. But I wouldn't be surprised, even after the patch and what Codemasters have done, I wouldn't be surprised if esports drivers were still capable of finding a way of jumping over that curb. Reminds me a lot of Baku City Circuit at turn 16. You're able to vault over that quite substantially. Actually, that's a racetrack I haven't commentated at in a long time, Baku. Not touched that place in some time. Or the league's not putting it on their calendar. JBH goes back into pit lane. We got Little Mick and Drag King out on track, as well as Luxury. I'll be keen to see how he goes through the first sector on this run. Got the battery turned on already. I might stick on board just to see how the car behaves. If I can't get a better idea. Evidently, the car's not that bad. Turns 1 and 2, that looks a bit nicer. Previous one, round turn 3. Again, bit of understeer. Not too bad through that opening complex. Up towards turn 5. Go on the brakes hard, bring it down to 3rd gear. Miss the apex. Maybe a slight brush up against the barrier as well. Around turn 6. Up towards the chicane, nice and wide approach. That was quite nice through 7. Enough rotation through turn 8. Missed the apex at 9 though. Clock says to the first sector. He's found 5.5 tenths straight off the bat. So already he's challenging a top 3 start. Looking for a 32.3 as JBH has left the session. Hopefully he can rejoin as soon as possible. He's only got 2.5 minutes left in this qualifying session to do a lap. If not, he'll be starting from the back for the sprint. Well, there's a Mercedes moving out on track, so... Out of the penultimate corner at turn 16, we'll head down towards the final turn. Luxury will set 32.349. He jumps to P3. And not doing too bad this week, Buster. It's been a fairly quiet week in terms of race spec. Attendance numbers have not been great. JBH has rejoined the session. That's weird because there's two... Yeah, what the... The game having a bit of a fit from the looks of things. This AI should be in pit lane, but for whatever reason it's stuck on the racing line at the exit of turn 5. Very peculiar. Got access of what's going on here. There's a car park at the chicane. Why is there a car park at the chicane? Everyone just stacking up. Are they desperately trying to get a tow, perhaps, on their flying lap? Is this Monza 2019 all over again? Captain Schmeg getting ready to set a flying lap. Makes his way around the final corner. Heads down towards turn 1. Brings it down to 3rd gear. Has a few cracks on the accelerator. He wasn't too confident getting on the power initially. Had to get off it. A lot of modulation through turn 4 as well. As he heads down Coval Lane towards turn 5. That AI is still on the racing line. It's ghosting, but it will provide a decent distraction. Yeah, the game having a bit of a fit with that. Round turn 7, round turn 8. That's a bit better. You can see Captain Schmeg utilising the inside curb there through turn 8. It's what you have to try and do. Use the full width of the circuit. Blockman heading through the first sector himself. I think his teammate Rebel's heading up towards the first sector split. Clock says for the Alpine driver, he is up by 0.4 of a second. Captain Schmeg making his way down the boulevard. Blockman making his way into the chicane of turns 7 and 8. Third gear through here. Nice and calm on the accelerator. Yellow flags are out. There's a few slow-moving cars trying to give each other space. Blockman is up by 74 thousandths in the first sector. Captain Schmeg only 34 thousandths up. Rebel, well, according to the minimap, he's purple to the middle sector. Captain Schmeg will head around the final corner. Set a time of a 32.3, improves by 66 thousandths, jumps to third. Rebel will have a response to this, though. He'll cross the line to set a 31.788. We'll take provisional pole away from Axis and Blockman. Blockman on a pretty decent lap, though. Axis is down to the first sector. Nice and tidy through the final chicane. Axis to the middle sector. He's down. He's not improving, so it's down to Blockman. Can he knock off his teammate? The answer is yes. He beats him by 0.08 of a second to set a 31.708. Black Baller will put a time on the board. It'll be good enough for P10, a 33.0 is the time he's done. So that's it, the end of qualifying. And what do you know, it's an Alpine front row. Blockman will start from pole position for the sprint here in Vegas. Behind him, his teammate, P2, followed by championship leader Axis in P3. Captain Schmeg will start fourth, followed by Luxury, Little Mick, Saucy, Jay, Nanda and Black Baller. Drag King P11 and JBH had connection issues during qualifying. He will start from the back in 12th. Unfortunately as well, KD was meant to join the lobby, but yeah, he wasn't able to race. That's okay. We got 12. That's enough. Just enough to make this race interesting. Most importantly, we got some pretty capable drivers in here. A lot of them fighting for championships as well, particularly Blockman and Axis, dueling it out for the Drivers' Championship. Alrighty, sprint race. 9 laps around the strip circuit. Was informed as well it's going to be dry in all 3 sessions. Of course, we have the weather set to approximate, but considering the amount of races I've now seen here at Vegas, chances of rain are fairly low from the looks of things. It's not terribly surprising we're set to have dry races. 9 laps. I'll be curious to see who starts on mediums, who starts on the soft compound tyre for this sprint race. Both seem to be relatively usable for the sprint. It's not an overly technical racetrack. There's not a lot of areas where you shred through your tyres. There's just a lot of straights. A lot of big braking zones, so the front tyres copper pounding around here. A few key traction zones as well. But the only real high speed or medium speed corners around this racetrack probably turns 1, 2, 3 and 4. That's really about it. The rest of the racetrack wouldn't really affect tyre wear all that much. Of course, being a sprint round, it does shuffle the compound allocation around a little bit. I do believe they're one set softer than what they're supposed to be for a regular round here. But even so, the tyre wear is almost not noticeable from the looks of things. Especially when DRS trains form, and Trust me, we're going to see a lot of DRS trains over the course of this race. And of course, over the next race as well. Shouldn't be too far away now. Fuel shouldn't be much of a concern. I was informed that this track actually saves fuel, weirdly. When you're heading down the boulevard and you're revving it out in 8th gear, the fuel count on your MFD actually goes up. The number of laps you have left in the tank, it actually goes up. So you could theoretically run with a bit less fuel than what the game recommends you. Formation lap time then. Who's on what for this sprint race here in Vegas? And what do you know? It's a mix. The front row, the Alpines of Blockman and Rebel are both starting on the soft compound tyre. Behind them there is Axis in P3 starting on mediums. Captain Schmeg is doing the same in P4, as well as Luxury in P5. Little Mick in 6th is starting on the soft tyre. Saucy on the mediums in P7. Jay in P8 and Nanda in P9 are both starting on soft. Black Baller, Drag King and JBH, who complete the field, are starting on the mediums. So we have 7 on the mediums, 5 on the soft tyres. Almost a 50-50 split. We won't need that graphic up though for the start. We'll keep that away. Keep our eyes on the front runners making their way around. Not much more to ramble on about. It's an awfully long lap when you're crawling around at this speed. It's one of the few nuances I really don't like about longer racetracks. Formation laps and safety car periods really do take forever. I suppose one thing to chat about is the fact that this race will be coming around very shortly in real life. It will be incredibly fascinating to see how it all pans out. A lot of people saying it's already going to be a chaos fest because of the track design, as well as the fact the temperatures are set to be near freezing for qualifying and for the race itself. How that affects tyres for the event, how that affects the cars is going to be incredibly interesting to keep an eye on. Everyone's saying it's going to be just chaos all the way through. It'd be quite funny though if it turned out to be the race of the season. I wouldn't be surprised though. It would be funny, I wouldn't be surprised. Formula 1 is a very, very wacky sport. Lockman lining up in pole position. He's on the racing line heading down towards turn 1. His teammate Rebel though has the inside line, so if he gets a better launch, be able to try and send it down the inside heading into the first left-hander. JBH is now lined up in his grid slot. We're ready to run. 9 laps in front of us. 10 red lights. And the sprint race is underway here in Vegas. It's a nice start from the front row. It's a nice start from Axis as well. And what do you know? Rebel has the whole shot. Heading through turns 1 and 2. Bit of scrapping further back as the midfield tries to sort itself out. Blockman under attack from Axis round turn 4, heading on to Coval Lane for the first time in race conditions. It's an Alpine 1-2. Rebel leads from Blockman. In the middle of the pack, we got 2 wide action heading into turn 5. Nanda, does he outbrake himself then? No, he doesn't. He pulls it up nicely. He slots himself. Sorry, that's Captain Schmeg in the Haas, not Nanda. Captain Schmeg moves in front of Little Mick in P5. Through the chicane for the first time. It's a tight complex here. Everyone sorted themselves out though. No 2 wide action through there. Don't want to be going side by side through that chicane. Doesn't usually end well. Black Baller under attack from Jay and the Williams as we head around turn 10, around turn 11. Will the Williams look to the inside here? No, he does not. He stays behind the Mercedes, heading down Las Vegas Boulevard. So, a controlled start from all 12 drivers in terms of position change. There is a bit of shuffling. Nothing terribly major though. That's primarily thanks to there being no incidents on the first lap. Or at least no incidents so far. We've still got a few corners to get through. Oh, running wide was a Mercedes there. I think that was Black Baller. He's lost time to Nanda. Heading down towards the final corner to complete the first lap of 9. Down the inside goes Saucy. He moves through. Looks down the inside at turn 1 as well, but can't overtake Captain Schmeg. Round turn 3. Round turn 4. Onto Koval Lane. Sitting in the slipstream, Little Mick, closing the gap. Has a look, but he won't commit to a move. He's not quite close enough. Didn't have enough momentum either to really send it down the inside. Oh, Mercedes getting very close to the barrier on the outside of turn 5, brushing up against the wall. But the battling here in the midfield has been pretty good. It's been very clean. Everyone's kept it out of the barriers, which is the most important thing. Down Sands Avenue towards the junction that leads onto the boulevard. Rebel with 9/10 in hand. Oh! Jay in the Williams. Finding the barrier at the exit of turn 12. He's got a damaged front wing, a missing end plate. To be exact, he will have to pit. That's ruined his sprint race. He'll tumble down to last. There'll be very little he can do about it. Everyone moves through. Gains a place. Jay now down to 12th. Top 10 score points in the sprint here in Race Spec. So Jay outside of the points. He'll likely stay outside of the points too as Saucy moves through into 5th position, overtaking the Haas. JBH, a similar move down the inside of his own teammate Black Baller, moves through into 9th position. Jay, a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane as he proceeds to retire. That's a fair enough call, I suppose. The likelihood of a safety car in a sprint is very low, especially with a field that only has 12 cars. So why even bother continuing to race? You might as well retire and just start from the back anyway for the main event. Also, that mindset really gets put to the test because there's always a chance. It's never impossible to see a safety car. There's always a chance. Still got a few battles raging on here and there. But one towards the front. Got Rebel and Blockman. 2 Alpines leading the way. That gap will shrink between those 2 drivers thanks to DRS. Might bring up telemetry here. 208 miles an hour is what Rebel is hitting compared to Blockman at 221. Saucy moves by his teammate Luxury as Captain Schmeg closes in, darts to the inside but does not commit to a move. Black Baller gets by his own teammate Drag King. Had a brief look, I believe. Ooh, but didn't commit. He stays in P11. 5-car train battling for 4th place. 2.9 seconds behind the leaders. And these guys continue to battle hard. That gap will only increase. Down Koval Lane. Luxury will get by his teammate. No, he won't. He's got DRS firmly shut. Yellow's out. Safety car deployed. What for? Well, there's the safety car. But I don't understand why. Who's missing a front wing? Everyone's still running, so who's missing a wing? Both Red Bulls have theirs. That McLaren has his. The Haas has his. Nanda has his. Drag King. Ah, Black Baller. So he's found a barrier somewhere. Might have had some help. And because of that completely destroyed front wing, safety car is now deployed. Like I said, it's never impossible to have a safety car. So Jay, there was an opportunity to perhaps get back inside the points, but well, he elected to give away that opportunity. Now, I don't believe anyone will be pitting, except for maybe those further back, like Drag King, like JBH. I think these front runners will be quite happy with the tyres they're on. As you can see, they stay out. There's some movement further back. No one committing in. And what do you know? The drivers further back are coming in to make a pit stop. You can really tell I've watched a fair few of these races. There'll be a slight double stack here for Mercedes, but that's not really much of an issue. Front wing change for JBH, so he had to come in. The front wing looked okay, but evidently he had a slight damage to it, so he had to come in. New tyres for Black Baller, new front wing. Away he leaves. And Drag King, well, he wasn't set to lose any track position, so he came in and put on some new rubber. It will allow him to try and attack Nanda and Captain Schmeg, who are on slightly older tyres. Rebel holding the brake and the accelerator at the same time. It's a bit curious how this particular tyre warming technique is still in the game. They have not patched this out. Like, you wouldn't want to do this in real life, holding the brake and the accelerator at the same time, because all you're doing is burning the engine. You're asking it to push through the extra load that you're applying through the brakes, and it just increases the stress on the engine itself, on the differentials as well. So you're just murdering the engine in real life if you're doing that. But here in the video game world, you can do it, and it drastically improves carcass temperature. That's why people do it. There are two types of tyre temperature you have to keep an eye on. Contact and a spin. I'm going to interrupt myself. A Haas, that is Captain Schmeg, and the McLaren of Little Mick have come together at turn 14 behind the safety car and have caused a little accident. See, Nanda had to give up the position because I'm guessing he got an illegal overtake prompt. Captain Schmeg is into pit lane. I'm guessing he got front wing damage, so he'll get that fixed. No, this is just a strategic stop then. Or he had damage and the team elected not to repair it, because that can happen. But as I was saying earlier, there's two types of tyre temperature you have to worry about. There's surface temps and carcass temps. And by utilising that brake technique, you can maintain your carcass temperatures pretty well. And the carcass temperature is easily the more important of the two to worry about. Surface temps can increase quite dramatically and very, very quickly, whereas carcass temperature takes a while. So utilizing that brake riding technique, yeah, it makes managing tyre temps really easy. It's definitely not a real life technique. No way, no how is it a real life technique. Just destroy your power unit straight away. Do that for long enough. This should be the final lap behind the safety car. The lights will go out very shortly and Rebel will take control of the field. Safety car lights will go out very, very shortly. Or not? You're kidding me. What? Oh, I was going to say. Safety car light should have went out at least 300 meters earlier, but there we go. Doesn't matter. Get rid of the tyre graphic for at least a bit. Get ready for the restart. Rebel controlling the field. Takes off. It's a good restart relative to his teammate. Got 7/10 in hand already as he crosses the line to begin lap 7 of 9. We have 3 laps to go in this sprint race here at Vegas. Pass already between teammates. Black Baller and JBH changing position. A bit loose there for Luxury. He loses time to Little Mick. Drag King gets in front of Nanda straight off the bat. And the Alfa Romeo driver is dumping his battery to try and catch up to the McLaren in front. Black Baller close, but not quite close enough to go for a move just yet. But, oh, Nanda goes into the wall at the exit of turn 5. Through go the 2 Mercs and his teammate. Nanda falls down to 11th. And that's outside of the points. Cutting the track is Captain Schmeg there, overshooting turn 7. And here's your race leader, Rebel. 9.5 tenths. The gap now up to 1 second. Oh, bit of sideways action there through turn 12 for Blockman. The rear's locked. The car kicked out sideways. He loses time to his teammate, but he still keeps Axis behind. Saucy dumping the battery, trying to draw alongside. Axis is closing in on the Alpine. He'll have the inside line if he dives it in deep enough. He doesn't. Blockman hangs on to second. Awkward run over the curves there for Saucy. The car didn't really want to cooperate. Little Mick. Oh, an incident for Luxury. He lost control at turn 16. He drops down the order and he's into pit lane. So he's found the barrier. Damaged his wing. Saucy getting close to Axis. Not close enough to try and attack him for turn 1. Yellow's out as Luxury just retires from the session. There you go. Drag King down the inside of Black Baller. Side by side exiting turn 4. A drag race down Clover Lane then. Who's got the legs? It appears to be the Mercedes, but only just. Oh, Black Ball around the outside makes the move stick. Drag King showing a lot of respect there, leaving a lot of room. That's braking a bit early. A punt, and around goes Mick. Off goes Black Baller. Oh, dearie me. Black Baller getting right into the back of the McLaren, sending them both off. Drag King up to 5th position now with JBH in hot pursuit. Around turn 12. Captain Schmeg's now in the action too, at the back of this 3-car train. Speaking of 3-car train, here's the battle for P2. Blockman, Axis and Saucy heading towards turn 14. Axis to the inside. He gets the car in front. Blockman tries to fight back, but he doesn't have the track position to do that. He'll slot in behind. Oh, a big sideways moment for Saucy. Dumping the battery, shifting up through the gears. Reaching peak speed as we head towards turn 1. JBH moves in front of Drag King. Drag King tries to fight back round the outside at turns 1 and 2. It'll give him the inside line at 3 and 4, but he couldn't stay on the outside of JBH. He slots back in behind. Blockman with a fair bit of catching up to do to Axis as Black Baller gets a 5-second time penalty for speeding in pit lane, and he proceeds to retire from the session. Though I do believe with the amount of laps he's done, he will be classified. So he will score 1 point for 10th. I think. We'll have to wait and see when the final results screen pops up. Well, Axis has done the job he's needed to do to keep Blockman back. He will secure second. Oh, Blockman, a huge moment. An opportunity for Saucy. And he moves through too. Oh, Blockman, he's completely bottled that at turn 12. Kicking the car out sideways, losing another place. Extra point for Axis in his championship hopes. Out in front though, it's been a well controlled drive from Rebel. Around the final corner in this sprint, he'll cross the line to win the first race here first race here at Vegas. And Blockman actually gets back at Saucy. He ends up finishing third. So a nice recovery then at the end. 3 cars separated by only 46 thousandths of a second. Fine margins for that final podium spot. JBH given driver of the day honours. So, Rebel takes the win in the sprint. Axis home in P2, Blockman in P3, only just over Saucy in 4th, followed by JBH, Drag King, Captain Schmeg, Nanda, Little Mick, and Black Baller is indeed classified in 10th position. Luxury and Jay retired from the race. They'll be starting 11th and 12th respectively. Bit of work for them to do. It's definitely not impossible though to get back up towards the front. Just need to keep calm. Make the opportunities count. Decent points haul then for Alpine. 10 points plus 8 gives them 18, and the 9 for AlphaTauri. So that cuts down the necessary requirement down to 14 points. That's how much they have to outscore AlphaTauri in the main race here, which should be quite doable considering the form that Rebel demonstrated as well as Blockman. If both cars don't end up on the podium, then something's gone very, very wrong. Alright. Main race time, 25 laps. It's a lengthy event. You can see a lot of the same kind of action. A lot of DRS trains, a lot of back and forth slipstreaming. A lot of cars kicking out sideways. It's all going to look very, very similar. It's going to go on for that little bit longer. Shouldn't be too far away. The second formation lap, hopefully. Shouldn't be too far away. I said it wouldn't be too far away. It turns out it's going to be a bit longer than I thought. There we go. Right. Formation lap is a go. Who's starting on what then for the main race? To tell you the truth, it's more mixed up now than what it was in the sprint. We got Rebel starting from pole position. He's on the soft compound tyre. Axis starting alongside him on the front row is starting on the hards. Blockman in P3 is starting on the medium, same with Saucy in P4. They complete the second row. You have JBH in 5th on the hard tyres, Drag King in P6 on the mediums. Captain Schmeg is doing the same. in P7. Nanda in P8 is on the hard tyre. Little Mick in P9 is on this. Nanda in P8 is on the soft tyre. Little Mick in P9 is on the soft tyre as well. Black Baller is on the mediums. Luxury is on the hards. And Jay, starting from the back, is on the mediums. So we have 3 cars on the softs, 3 cars on the mediums. That means 6 are on the soft compound, are on the medium compound tyre. Man, I'm all over the place. 3, 3, 6. So a proper mix-up in terms of strategy. There'll be a few different strategies drivers could try and make work. Soft, medium, medium, soft is possible, if I'm not mistaken. I'd be curious to see how those hard tyres fare relative to everyone else. Because of course initially they're not going to have a hell of a lot of pace, but I imagine when the stints wear on, they'll start to come back, come into their own. Axis, I think best case situation for him is to not let Rebel fly off into the distance, but that's going to be really hard to do considering that our man on pole position is on that soft tyre. Alright, we line up again. There's Nanda, I think, yep, and Captain Schmade. They're both getting disqualified. Well, that's an interesting lineup there from Luxury P11. Alright, this time around we have 25 laps in front of us, 10 red lights, and the main race is underway here at Vegas. It's a nice start again from our front row. As we head down towards turn 1, it's Rebel who leads, Axis second, followed by Blockman. Then JBH and Saucy are battling away, heading towards turns 3 and 4. The Red Bull close, but not quite close enough to try and send it round the outside as we head down Coval Lane. The 2 Haas's are drag racing down towards turn 5. Nanda not quite close enough to go on his teammate. His teammate, though, in response, defends just a little bit, heading into turn 5. Up towards turn 6, and then the chicane. Little Mick close, but not quite close enough to attack Drag King through the 7-8 chicane. Towards the hairpin at turn 9. There's your leaders. Here comes the midfield in hot pursuit. Head down Sands Avenue, round turn 11. Rather turn 10, then turn 11. Rebel has flown off into the distance. He's got 1.6 seconds over Axis, who moves down to P2, overtaken by Blockman. JBH trying to hang on to 4th here as Saucy closes in. Axis takes the position back, not right on board here with JBH, who almost goes into the back of Saucy. Through turn 14, then 15 and 16. Into the short straightaway, heading towards turn 17, up through the gears. Into 8. Blockman down the inside at the final corner. He gets back in front. Axis stays in behind. But while everybody has been dueling, Rebel has flown off into the distance. He's got 2 seconds now over his teammate in P2. Looking quite comfortable at the very front of the field. Little Mick closing in on Drag King, not by enough to attack into turn 5. Should stay behind and does so. Oh my word, a Haas getting sideways there. Was that Nanda? Would have to be Nanda who did that. Head around the hairpin at turn 9. Bit sideways there for Drag King further back in the Alfa Romeo. Car stepping out quite dramatically there at turn 9. Blockman half a second over Axis. The gap between the top 2 now, 2.7 seconds. And that will just continue to increase. Building up to a speed of 213, 14, not quite 15 miles an hour. Still ludicrous speed heading into this chicane. Using some of the overtake to just keep with Blockman. I suppose in this kind of battle, Axis can't worry about Rebel all that much. His main championship rival is Blockman, and he is directly in front. Don't be too worried about the race win right now. Just focus on battling your championship rival. Yellow's out. It's Jay. Around at turn 1. He's pointing back in the right direction, but he's got a fair amount of catching up to do. He needs to put together quite a few good laps. Blockman! Oh my word! He's thrown it away at turn 5. He's in the wall. There's a virtual safety car out. And he's got a broken front wing on that Alpine. Now, Luxury's getting out of the way. So is Black Baller, because they've got illegal overtake prompts. Because this game can't help but be complete rubbish. See, Blockman was damn near stopped. He was trying to recover the car, and then, you know, those two fellas passed by him completely fairly, but they still get an illegal overtake prompt. Like I said, this game just can't help itself but be complete rubbish. To be fair, it's been like that for a while now. For Blockman then, he'll have to pit, I don't know onto what. Will he pit onto softs and try and send it? Will he pit onto hards and make them last? What does he do? Oh, we've got some changing of positions here. What's going on? We're back on the green flag conditions here at Las Vegas. Thankfully everyone has sorted themselves out. Into the pits goes Blockman. On the attacker's little mech. Drag King trying to follow suit. Down the inside heading into turn 1. The grip that Nanda has on those soft tyres. He's able to keep the fight alive. Stay in P7. Drag King stays in behind in P8. Flat out blast into turn 5. Everyone getting through pretty well. So Blockman has pitted onto hard tyres. He rejoins down in 12th. 3.6 seconds behind the next car, which is Luxury in the Red Bull. Rebel leading the way. 3.8 seconds the margin. His car looking pretty good out there. Axis in P2. Saucy P3. Saucy a poor run out of turn 12. He's got DRS though. Look at the overspeed, and there is nothing Axis can do about it. That looked a bit dicey, but they got it sorted. Rebel moves to P2. Here comes the following train led by JBH. Down towards the final corner. Little Mech having a look down the inside of Captain Schmeg. Will get the job done there. Down into turn 1. McLaren gets in front. Takes P5. And oh, a huge moment. The car kicking out sideways. He's gone into the wall. Losing a place. Black Baller. No DRS available to him, so he'll stay behind Nanda. No, Nanda will let him through as Luxury retires in pit lane. Well, there you go. Jane P10, Blockman P11. Rebel leading the way, 3.6 seconds. And still seeing P2. Axis staying in behind the Rebel. He's got a decent charge of battery. You have to use just a little bit of that. He's going to gain quite an amount of time thanks to DRS. Similar story back here as Little Mick will line up a pass here on JBH. There's nothing that the Mercedes driver can do about it. Through goes the McLaren, and through goes Axis as well. I'm quite surprised that he actually went for the position. I thought he might stay behind Saucy, but no. He's overtaken the Red Bull. He kicks it out sideways as well. Man, there is no traction out there right now. I've seen basically everybody get sideways. Contact into the wall. Goes Axis. There was a bit of lag in that, but I'm almost certain the two cars came together. And Saucy in response lets the AlphaTauri back through. The front wing looks intact, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was minor damage to that wing. That was a serious impact there at the final corner. And as a result, the gap has increased to 4 seconds between them and the race leader, who is the only car I think I've seen all race that's actually kept it straight. Rebel in a class of his own here at Vegas. Car looks good. He hasn't really put a foot wrong, from what I can tell. Everyone else though having moments. Oh, JBH getting close to the wall there. Turn 9. Around turn 12 onto the boulevard. Now Saucy 7.5 tenths back. Yeah, he won't be close enough to attack Axis into turn 14. He'll stay behind. Axis has cut down the gap a little bit between himself and the race leader. Nando overtakes Drag King. That's for P7. Around the final corner, back onto the main straight. And look, 7 of 25, still got a ways to go in this race. Round turns 3 and 4. Down Koval Lane, DRS open. Don't think Saucy's close enough, he'll just stay in behind. These are the slipstream battles that I made mention of earlier on. We're not going to see a hell of a lot of typical racing action that you see at other racetracks. It's just a lot of slipstreaming, or the DRS games, that kind of stuff. Very similar to a NASCAR race. You just sort of have to wait for the laps to tick down. Wait for the final 2 or 3 laps, and then it all kicks off as everyone tries to gain as much position as they possibly can. As JBH misses turn 12 by a little bit, loses time. Won't lose DRS though, he's still in range. Saucy will move by Axis into P2. Still about 4 seconds behind the race leader. Through the chicane. Down towards the final corner, the leader begins lap 8 of 25. Here comes Axis. Not close enough to go for the position. Little Mick sitting in 4th place. I'm sure he's enjoying the track position he's got as Axis and Saucy. Some violent movements down that straight. Ultimately results in Axis moving through into 2nd. Round turn 6 and into the chicane. Yeah, Little Mick, he'd be pretty happy with this performance so far. Looking pretty solid. Up 5 positions from where he started, easily the most out of anybody. Now, those tyres have probably seen better days after 8 laps, but he's still with Axis and Saucy. I think that's what he'll be most happy about, is that he hasn't let these two break away. He's kept himself in DRS range. In fact, he might have a crack here at the Red Bull. Saucy does not have DRS, the McLaren does. The appears that Mick is having a look. There we go, down the inside. So through into third. Now have his sights set on Axis in the AlphaTauri. Not anymore. Saucy gets a mega run out of turn 16. Moves back through on the McLaren to retake third place. Good little bit of driving there from the Red Bull as Nanda pits in. The beginning of the 9th lap, he's going to get off the soft tyres and onto a set of mediums from the looks of things. Front wing change to boot, so perhaps not a scheduled stop. This is one for damage. But even on those mediums, I think he should be able to get to the end of the race on those. Lockman will now move through into the top 10. Trying to manage a less than great situation as Drag King and Black Baller very close together on track as they go through the Sphere chicane. Around the hairpin next to the elevated monorail. Here's the battle for second. Axis, Saucy, Little Mick. Rebel's been losing time, but it's time that he can afford to lose. 3.2 seconds is a very healthy margin around a racetrack like this. And considering that Saucy and Axis will go back and forth for a bit, that gap might even extend just a little bit. Saucy, though, electing not to attack through the chicane. Perhaps he's going to play a bit more patiently now as Drag King moves through into 7th place, overtaking Black Baller. Said he's not quite close enough. Unless he goes for the mother of all dive bombs here at turn 1, he should stay behind and does stay behind. Little Mick now losing time to the two in front. Perhaps those soft tyres are really now starting to feel quite average. Not getting the grip that he desires. Grey King hangs on to 7th place as well. Doesn't get attacked into turn 5. All the drivers that have not pitted, they're still on the tyres they're on. They've kept out of trouble. A lot of them have gained track position. Drag King having a bit of a moment there. Losing ground to Black Baller, who should be able to get by down the boulevard. Speaking of getting by at the boulevard, should see a change for P2 here. There's a race leader Rebel. Here comes Axis and Saucy. Don't even need to use the battery. That's how potent DRS is. Moves through into 2nd. Black Baller moves through into 7th. Back and forth battling. A lot of overtaking, but it's a lot of really straightforward, uneventful overtaking. She's using the power of DRS to your advantage. See, Axis is close. He could have had a go at turn 1, but realistically you wouldn't do that as Captain Schmeg goes into pit lane to get off these mediums. Looks like he's got a front wing at the ready too. Move on to a set of hards. Axis close, but he doesn't go for a move. It's a very tough place to try and make an overtake happen at turn 5. He's better off staying behind, follow the leader through this section and then get by on the boulevard. The DRS zone there is so long it makes overtaking look so simple, so easy. Through turn 10, round turn 11. Heading towards the junction. Well, now you don't overdo this corner. Neither driver does. There we go. Another simple move. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Little Mick, he's going to get passed here by JBH. through, and Drag King should do the same. I think what this racetrack demonstrates more than anything else, as Rebel pits in, so he'll relinquish the lead. Overtaking isn't everything. I reckon this race, if it pans out in any way... Oh, hello. Yellow. Someone going slowly through the final sector. If the real life race pans out in any way, shape or form like we're seeing here in the virtual world, that race will probably have one of the highest overtake counts of any racetrack we have this season. But the thing is, the overtakes are so straightforward and boring that they're ultimately meaningless. They have very little impact. So much passing, so much changing of position, but ultimately, because they're so simple, they don't mean anything. Back and forth, drafting, slipstreaming. Very dull, as Little Mick makes a mistake and loses a place to Blockman, who moves up to P6. There, you know the overtake's coming. He uses battery he doesn't really need to use. Gets back in front of Axis. Axis will stay behind, maybe charge up the batteries a little bit. Because he doesn't really need to work hard at Saucy to stay with him. Little Mick gets by Blockman. Nanda will follow suit down the inside, heading towards turn 14. Yeah, just very simple passing. Black Baller into pit lane. He'll move on to a set of hard tyres. No front wing change, so this is a strategic stop. There's Rebel P4 with a very clear track ahead of him, using some of that battery that he saved up. Hello, Rebel. Weaving away, trying to get some temperature perhaps into those tyres as well. Might be a bit cold. As Nanda moves through down the inside into P5. I'd be curious to see what Blockman does with those tyres. He's gone an awfully long way on those tyres already, done 9 laps. If he can get those to the end, then credit to him for doing that, considering the situation that he's in. He'd be hopeful for a safety car at some point, try and put some purpose back into his race, because at the moment he's kind of a sitting duck with those tyres. Stuck in the queue with Nanda and Little Mick. Hello, Black Baller and Captain Schmeg. An incident here at turn 12 has resulted in a virtual safety car. Black Baller becomes the second retirement of the race as the race leaders come in for their first pit stops. Saucy onto a set of hards. Axis will move onto a set of mediums, and both drivers will try and get to the end of the race. JBH moves on to a set of softs as Rebel retakes the lead. He has got nowhere near the margin that he had before the pit stops. Axis and Saucy are now directly behind. The gap was about 3 seconds or so before the pit stops. Now it's at 1.1. Captain Schmeg, a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pits as he proceeds to retire from the race as well. We are now down to 9 cars. It really is sucking the life out of me. An interesting call though from JBH to move on to a set of softs. Don't think those tyres will make it to the end. Black Baller's left the session as well. DRS is now enabled and we're back on the green flag conditions here at Vegas. JBH closing in on Nanda. Not by enough though. Down the strip. Las Vegas Boulevard. DRS open for JBH. We'll move on through into 4th. Blockman will close the gap up as well. The overspeed is real. But Nanda appears to have enough top speed. Ooh. The upping doesn't sound nice when it reaches full revs. That was 227 miles an hour, by the way. Axis closing in on our race leader. Goes down the inside at turn 1. Rebel with all the traction and all the drive. He's able to hang on to the race lead. And as a matter of fact, he pulls away through turns 3 and 4. That's quite impressive, all things considering. He's on the harder tyre. They're slightly older as well. Had a compromised line heading down the inside of turn 3. And somehow he was able to maintain traction and pull away from Axis and P2. Round turn 10. Round turn 11. Head down the boulevard with overtake switched on. Should be a simple change in position here. Nothing terribly over the top. Little Mick gets by Jay as well. That was at the exit of turn 9, a more unorthodox place to try and pass. As JBH moves through into P3 as well. Dear oh dear. Overtaking is so simple. So simple. It's in the slipstream. Draft your way by. Yeah. JBH sets a new fastest lap of 34.118. Time he's set. Now, Rebel behind, Axis 9/10 behind. Got DRS switched on, he'll gain time. Head through the technical part of the first sector. It's fierce chicane. Rebel needs to stay within that 1 second range, and currently he's not doing that. Axis is pulling away. Gap now sits at 1.1 seconds, and Rebel in response is dumping that battery, trying to cut down that gap to make sure he gives himself DRS down Las Vegas Boulevard. Gap is tight. He's dumping whatever he's got left, and I'm afraid it's not enough. No DRS for Rebel. Yellow's out as Saucy retires. He's done that down the straight. Looky here, there he is. Oof. Safety car has been deployed. I never would have thought I'd see an accident at turn 13. But there's been an accident around this little kink. How in the hell did he do that? I can see some tyre marks that lead from the outside wall and back to where he actually retired. So maybe he was hooked into the outside wall. Let's have a look. Some drivers coming in. No front wing change, no front wing change. No front wing change. Right thing. Oh, he looked alright. So everyone moving on to soft tyres. How about that? Saucy out of the race. Crashing through the kink of turn 13. Did his wheel fail? I think he's on a wheel. I'm pretty certain he's on a wheel. Was he hooked into the wall? There's a front wing change for Jay. But he wasn't anywhere near that accident. He was further back. Was he hooked? It was the wheel failing. There you go. Thanks for the info. because yeah, I saw the tyre marks that led to where you ended up, and it went from the outside wall across the racetrack to the inside. So yeah, I theorised a bunch of things. I thought you might have been hooked, and yeah, one of them was a wheel failure, and you just went straight on into the wall. That's a real shame. That is a real damn shame. Yep. Yeah. I figured that could have been a reason why. That's a real shame. Heading towards the closing stages of this race. But there we go. I never thought I'd ever see an accident at turn 13 here at Vegas. Through this little king, but there we go. I've seen one. And we're down to 8. No, not just laps to go. We're down to 8 cars. Triple tacos and much burger. Those fictional brands are too funny. Changing position here. We've got drivers coming in, opting to get off their used tyres. They'll put on some fresh ones instead of softs at the ready. Ooh, gone a bit too fast for both cars. So this is it. We're getting ready for the sprint to the checkered flag. Unless, of course, we get another safety car, which, again, isn't impossible. Have a quick flick through some of the details here, just to fill in some of the gaps. Everyone has changed position now. No one has stayed in the position where they qualified. The person who has gained the most is Jay. Man who has lost the most is between Blockman and Drag King, as Jay's off the racetrack. Rejoins now down in 8th place. Yeah, a fair amount of shuffling up and down the leaderboard. In terms of pit stops, everyone's made at least 2, at most 3. Everyone's on soft compound tyres and no one has got a penalty yet. So it's all to play for. Got to throw all your chips on the table. Go all in. Yes, I made a gambling pun here at Vegas. You kind of have to. It's Vegas. Yeah, look at that. Triple tacos, greasy biscuit, much burger. Much burger. Well, that's meant to be Burger King, I'm pretty certain. A fictionalized version of Burger King. That is such a much burger. Yes, I'd like some much burger. Alright, it's down to Axis to control the field, and he takes off. About halfway down the straight. Round the final corner. Back down the main straightaway. We're back on the green flag conditions. Nanda under attack already from Blockman behind as we go through turns 1 and 2. Axis leading the way. 6/10 in hand from Rebel. He's in front of JBH. Nanda with Blockman behind. Blockman will be looking to try and make up a few positions here. And get back onto the podium places if he can. Up towards the chicane. Through turns 7 and 8. Everyone's behaving themselves pretty well here. Here come your leaders, then the mid-pack, then the tail enders. Tightly bunched together, only 8 cars left. Round turn 12 on to Las Vegas Boulevard. Axis has got pretty decent margin in hand now. He's used up a bit of his battery. Rebel in response is using up some of his. JBH typically has a pretty quick car in a straight line. Nanda in the slipstream is closing the gap though. He's dumping the battery. Blockman just not quite close enough to have a crack at the Haas. Around turn 16. Blockman a little bit too far behind. Nanda's a bit too far behind JBH. Blockman closed down that gap though quite considerably. Has a look to the inside but does not fully commit to the move. We now begin lap 20 of 25. 6 laps to go. Down Coval Lane towards turn 5. Little Mick losing time, losing touch to the top 5. As they start to form their own train. Mick will do himself a huge favour if he can stay within that 1 second range to Blockman. It's a lot easier said than done though. We head through the chicane, nice and steady through 7, round turn 8. Drag King gets a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. But evidently he probably cut turn 8 after running wide at turn 7. As a result, he now has those 3 seconds next to his name. Axis still leads, Rebel still in second. 7 tenths behind. 20% difference in terms of battery between the top 2. A change in position for 4th as Blockman moves on through. Down Las Vegas Boulevard. Nanda, can he fight back? The answer is no. The Haas driver stays behind. Out of the penultimate corner, heading down towards the final corner. Blockman now has his sights firmly set on the Mercedes in front as DRS is now enabled with 5 laps to go. Little Mick having a look but not fully committing to a move. Stays behind. Alright. This is the kind of battle that I've been waiting for throughout the entirety of this race. 4 laps to go with it all to play for. Not just for this race, but also for the championship. We head through the chicane. Turn 7 and turn 8. Up towards turn 9. Top 4 nose to tail. Then it's 1.2 seconds back to Nanda. Nanda, he needs to string together turn 12 as best he can. Try and get within 1 second of Blockman. He's close. Oh, he got close to the barrier too on the outside. I think he might get some DRS. He does. On board with JBH as Rebel will line up a pass here. He's staying behind. He's tactically staying behind. As JBH has a look down the inside. Doesn't fully commit to a move. But Rebel had every opportunity to take the lead. He elected not to go for it. This is the kind of gamesmanship that I'm now expecting to see here at the closing stages of the Grand Prix. Blockman has a look down the inside now. Down at turn 1. They're side by side heading through turn 2. JBH will have the inside line at turn 3. Blockman keeps it around the outside. JBH, Blockman, a lot of respect being shown, a good bit of battling. Ascend perhaps? No. Blockman stays behind, clobbers the curb, the car straightens out. Rushes up against the barrier on the outside. Through the chicane. Around the hairpin at turn 9. Black out through turn 10, up towards turn 11. Get on the brakes hard for turn 12. Clipping the apex, JBH misses his. Now Nanda's properly in this fight. Rebel will go for the lead. Axis will slot in behind into the slipstream. Make sure he minimises the time loss. Blockman going round the outside, heading into turn 14. He gets the job done. The Alpine back up into third. Nanda very much in this fight. Here in the top 5. Round the final turn and back onto the main straightaway. 3 laps to go. Rebel with 8 tenths in hand. Already a bit of a mistake though through 1 and 2. It costs him a tenth or 2. So Axis will cut down the gap here down Koval Lane towards turn 5. Rebel has about the same amount of battery as Axis. Blockman a bit less. JBH a bit less than him. Nanda sitting at 22%. He's got a bit more compared to the 2 in front. So we head around the hairpin of turn 9. Up towards turn 10. Axis using up that battery. Not letting Rebel break away. Rebel holding that 8/10 gap though. Down Las Vegas Boulevard, 8.5 tenths the margin. DRS open on that AlphaTauri. Rebel's keeping the margin. 208 miles an hour he's hitting. 220 for Axis. The gap shrinks to 5.5 tenths. Bit sideways there for Rebel. Bit sideways there for Axis in response. Blockman closes in. His championship rival directly ahead. 2 laps to go here at Las Vegas. Round turns 1 and 2. Round turns 3 and 4. Gap between the top 2 extending slightly up to 7/10 of a second. Into turn 5. Using the full width of the racetrack. Every inch they can find. They're going to use Nanda a bit sideways. Through the chicane. Up towards the hairpin. Six and a half tenths. To go flat out through turn 10, flat out through turn 11. Third gear, clips the apex. Switches on the battery. Blockman has an opportunity here. He's got a run on Axis. Drawing alongside the championship rivals, drag racing down Las Vegas Boulevard. Heading towards turn 14. The gap shrink dramatically between the top 3. Out of turn 16 they go. Down towards the final corner. It's all down to this then. The final 3.8 miles of this Grand Prix. So final lap. Lap 25 or 25. Axis looking aggressive. So is Blockman. Perhaps unsettles the AlphaTauri just a little bit. The gap increases to 6 tenths. 7 tenths. 8 tenths. 8.5. Rebel just found a whole boatload of time through that corner. Seemingly out of nowhere as Blockman dives it down the inside. But couldn't quite make the move stick. Through the chicane. And around the hairpin at turn 9. I think Rebel's just secured it for himself. I don't know how the hell he found 3.5 tenths through turn 4 like that. Oh, but he's run wide at 12! He's thrown it away at 12! How on earth has he done that? He has thrown it away, outbraking himself at the most important corner on the circuit. An opportunity then for Blockman, who takes the lead out of nowhere. Oh my goodness me. Axis, can he do something? Can he dive bomb at turn 14? He's not close enough. Rebel's trying to hang on to third now. Oh my word, he had a win in the bag, almost guaranteed. He's thrown it away. Can Axis do anything? As they head towards the line, he looks but he can't get it done. They make contact, and Blockman wins the Las Vegas Grand Prix backwards. Axis leaves the session. He drops down the order. He will finish P2 though in the final results. I think Nanda's done the same. Because again, this game just can't help but be a broken piece of rubbish. Blockman given driver of the day after an incident at turn 5, tumbling him all the way down to the bottom of the order. With a bit of luck, he ends up winning this race. P2 actually goes to Axis. It's not an Alpine 1-2. Rebel will finish in 3rd. One of the most unbelievable bottles I think I've ever seen this year. Throwing it away with almost a sector to go. What an unbelievably weird race that was. What a weird ending. Now, unofficial results look like this. Blockman wins in front of Axis. He actually finishes P2. Rebel will come home in 3rd. In front of JBH, Little Mick. Then I think Saucy. Saucy was nearby. I can't quite remember. No, sorry, not Saucy. Nanda. Actually, 2.4 seconds. So Nanda would actually finish P5, I think, in the final results. In front of Little Mick, Drag King, and Jay. We started with 12. We ended with 8. Axis was fastest lap. But a 1-3, that would be 30 and 50. 30 and 20, that would make 50. Compared to the 23, yeah, 27-point swing in Alpine's favour. So I do believe that's it for the Teams Championship. Alpine are the Season 12 America's Tier 1 Teams Champions. But what a weird ending that was. Plenty of drama, plenty of chaos. That's what this race is meant to develop. I'm glad I won't be doing any more commentary around Vegas anytime soon. This racetrack is not the most appealing in the world. Final congratulations to our top 3. Congratulations to Blockman winning this race, but I think with everything said and done, it's now time for us to end the stream. I've been Lane Everingham. Thank you everyone so much for watching. We'll see you next week for round 13 of the championship at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia, for the Spanish Grand Prix. Far more traditional style of racetrack. Hopefully that will be quite a lot of fun. Until then, it's goodbye.